let's go to the agenda. Ray, can you facilitate, please?
I'll give it a try. All right. Hi, everybody. Let's have a very, very brief check-in. And Sara?
Hola.
Check-in.
Check-in. I mean, anything you want to say?
Just one thing. Maybe it's too late, but I have added a new guild in the guild spreadsheet that we did with Lake Loquat. I think it's not.
Sí, con níspero.
Sí, con níspero. Because since it doesn't get really there's no risk of frost, of early frost. I thought it could be a crop that we could cultivate and sell quite well, because it's the first crop before the summer fruits, and it's just after the oranges and the citrus. So it's a lapse of time when there's no fruit. Well, there's always fruit, but there's a lapse of time when there's a lack of fresh fruit here in the markets, and the loquat covers that lapse of time.
Yes. It's a good idea. And also, I think they are missing, I have some experimental guilds I'm preparing, but also there are missing guilds for nuts. Maybe you can do some, and also another fruits that you can think of, because afterwards, Daniel, I think he will choose the ones he liked the most.
But about
maybe
the nuts,
we can offer.
I have a question for you both, because the nuts, except the almond or the pistachio, the avellana, the hazelnut, and the el nogal, and walnut, all of those, they need the soil to be pretty humid. They need a certain amount of water, and all the cultivating zones are up where there's dry land, aren't they? Am I wrong?
No, you are right. But I thought that maybe we can put some guilds of nuts close to the dams, because this area is very often waterlogged, and it's a nice place to put nuts, I think. Of course, this is outside our project area, but I'm trying to push Alfonso to include this area, so we can have riverbank species and also nuts in that area.
That would be
nice. I think that he will agree, because this is a place that he's not cultivating. So it's much better to have a forest than nothing.
Okay, so I'll take note of that, and we can think of something near the ponds, like surrounding the ponds.
Yes. If you check the PDF I told you before that I make with the zones from Paul, there I put riverbank species and nuts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Also,
I'm pushing the boundaries.
Good. Good.
Let's have a quick check-in from Paul for now.
Hi, Ray. Good morning.
Hello.
So I think I'm just waiting right now. I'll be map guy if you want changes to maps and areas. I'm not sure, Ray, there's some interesting news from administration about using Trello and things like that. And then Inti is looking into Wiki, which is a way to put design materials on a website so that anyone can see them, and anyone here could easily update and make a show of how you want to represent your designs, and then we could use the forums to get input from anyone who wants to provide input. So I think it'll get easier and easier to share information.
Great, thanks.
Ricardo is not here, but he sent us by mail a nice document about hedge. It's not finished, but I think that it's similar about what you mean about having a short test after each guild. So maybe we can upload it, that you can check it, Paul, and see if this is what you were meaning last time.
You mean in terms of the calculation?
No. I was meaning in terms of narrative, to add narrative to the project. So he made, I think it's a good example, the document that Ricardo made.
Oh, perfect.
So the guilds are not finished, but the idea is very nice, I think.
Oh, good. I'm happy to look at it if you think it's useful.
Yes.
You want me to send that along? I'll just go ahead and forward that.
And about that document, Regina, is that on our shared documents? Because I cannot find it.
No, I'm going to upload it. I think I will upload it just now. I didn't upload it because it's not mine and because it's not finished. But I can upload it to the Plant and Guilds because in the end we are the only ones looking at it. So it doesn't matter. I don't think that Ricardo will mind. It's a nice document. Okay, I will upload it later because I don't know anymore where I have my things.
All right.
So Daniel is not yet in. I know, I tell you what I know, Paul, because we were not in, I think. He's leaving tomorrow to South Africa, and he will be back on 14th of June. I don't know if he has internet connection in there. So I've been crying by mail to him that we will miss him. Okay, he will try to check in today. Okay. And also my news. I was phoned by Alfonso, and because I don't know if you know, but there was quite a mess with the volunteers at the camp. You know, Paul, I guess.
No, just the, is it anything beyond the, what is it called, the liability insurance, or is there something new?
No, it was that. That, I think. I think that they had also problems with getting a car, but I don't know if they solved it already.
Last I heard, they decided to rent one.
Sorry?
Last I heard, they had decided for the next few weeks to rent one.
Oh, yeah, it's logical.
Temporary solution.
So also told me that he was talking to John and Marike and someone else, maybe you already, or someone from the supervisory board, whatever, about creating the association and with the lawyer, Isabel. It seems that the lawyer was asking 1,000 euro to create the association, and then 300 euros a month to maintain it. So Alfonso said that he was going to create it himself because in Murcia is 100 euros to create an association and 40 euros a month, maybe 70 if it's a lot, to manage the papers. So he's going to be in charge. He also asked me to be part of because he needs, I think, 3 Spanish people to create the association. So I told him that it was okay for me, but just for like 6 months, because my father is getting worse. I will have to dedicate most of my time to my father. So I told him that I will be there like 6 months to help him to create the things and organize all the things, and the camp start running. And maybe we can change by another Spanish. I was proposing Sarah.
I was going to offer my...
So I can explain you later, but the idea, I think, is maybe for me also to stop being the coordinator, and that Sarah can take over the work if you want, Sarah, of course, because you are Spanish, but they need to know you in the General Assembly. So I can step back, just be a designer, using less time in my life for the cooperative. And then you can I think it depends of what you want, because Ray is also possible, but she's already a coordinator and she's also in the supervisory board. So I think we need someone from design in the General Assembly, and also Spanish for the association, because by law it has to be Spanish. or with an Spanish DNA.
I would love to do that, but I cannot do that for the next 2 or 3 months because I have now work obligations and I'm over the top with my work, with the amount of work I have to do now with my private projects and everything. And I need at least 2 months to have a little time to finish all the projects I'm doing now.
Yes, it's no problem for me. It's just a transition between you and me because at the beginning it's better that you come with me to the General Assembly until the people knows you. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or if you have another idea, it's okay for me, another person. It's no problem.
No, I would love to, but I need a slow transition right now because I have a lot of work.
Okay. Okay, what I know then, sorry, is that the association is going to have 5 voting members. 1 will be Alfonso, 1 will be me, or Sarah later on, or whomever. Then Dieter or Dietmar, it's a German with a Spanish DNA. It's the Albelal person. These are the 3. And then it will be another person from the ERC that they told me is going to be someone from the supervisory board. I don't know who. And then 1 from the World Permaculture Association. That I guess it will be Giuseppe. Don't know either. So even the association will be created by the 3 Spanish DNIs, but the voting rights will be equal for the 5 of them. Okay. That's what I know for now. Just to let you know.
No,
okay, thank you.
That's a lot important. Thank you. All righty.
Paul, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's out of order or not. So you tell me, Ray. There's I guess it made me wonder, does the ecosystem design group have the right number of people, or with the right skills, or are we looking for more people with certain skills to help out?
Yes, there is a British girl, Helen. This is another point in the agenda, is the next one. I think she wants to join us. And I was going to ask you, but because for me it's okay to join people, but the question is how to join the people, how to join them that the work is not disturbed every time. So how to do it? What do you think? Because for me it's okay. It's always better to have people.
Me too.
Yep.
And we're going through a transition, and it will be a nonstop transition.
Yes. So I yes, sorry.
Yeah. So by the way, I'm fine with having Helen on. I've seen some of the correspondence between Helen and Ashley, and in fact, I've been copied on, some of that. So it sounds good. She's in South America, Central America.
Peru, I think.
Peru, yes. Right now. So I'm reckoning she probably can speak Spanish. And so I think that she'd be, initial thoughts are she should fit right in. And, how do we want to, what we've done so far, because we've just done it the old fashioned way, is we've gotten to know a person and just answered their questions and provided them with, links. And I think that this group has done a pretty good job of maintaining a library of information in an accessible spot so that people can go through and, catch up that way. Although some of us do much better hearing it from another human being. But anyway, and we can find out from Helen,
Okay. And also to know what she wants to do, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jose is a long time that I don't know anything from him. Did you hear of it? I don't know anything about him. Okay. Okay. And Ricardo is working hard, I think, but he's very busy there.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the news, I think.
Okay.
Alrighty. Progress with the task list. I have not made much. I've done a little bit regarding the vias, the living fences. And yeah, I'm playing catch up with the species up in Spain. Yeah, so I'm translating what I know in general and learning about these new species. So that's about what I've been doing. You get that?
Okay. All right. So
Can you repeat? Sorry, because I
Who? Yep. Me?
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can
not
edit.
Much.
I cannot edit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Not much progress, but I am working on the living fence species, and most of what I've been doing is learning and getting familiar with the Spanish species.
Okay.
Okay. So this week I've been working on, you know how we always talk about the 5-year plan and budget. So I've been thinking that before making any budget for this autumn or anything, we can make like that's what I've been working on, like quick view, like from the top of the 5-year plan. Which I mean, I've been working like on a worksheet with all the species we have and the expected production of each one per tree, like from the national institutions that tell all the estimates of production for almonds or fruits or whatever, and comparing that to the prices in the market that we have this year, although the price you know that change every week, and trying to gather. We're trying to gather information about the what we expect to earn or to well, that's what I've been working on. You know, like making a document where you can see how much are we going to earn and how much we have to spend, and comparing each one with the other to have like a certainty of real numbers of expectations. That's what I've been doing.
With
Thank you.
With or without irrigation?
Without.
Without, okay.
I thought always without, because since the budget is an issue, we have to reduce the cost to the maximum.
Right.
So without.
Okay. Okay.
Only the acidic climates.
Okay.
Okay. Can we say hello, Ricardo? And
yes, hello everybody. Sorry, because we had kind of a crisis here with the computer. It took half an hour to actually start it. So yeah, I was a bit sweating. But yes, hello. Well, I have to introduce my colleagues here, Arthur and Robin. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Want to be present here just to see what's going on.
excellent.
And,
okay, they are welcome.
yeah, and well, just to, I want to know where are you and which point are you? And I think it's the budget thing, no?
Yeah. We're reviewing our progress. Just what we've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Well, I can make a summary, or I can just explain in detail things. I think that could be also interesting for us to tell you what my observations have been about the ecosystem around, no?
Great.
Okay.
Well, what's going on right now here is that we are finally starting to move, because we fixed all the insurance things. So we were kind of blocked, but now we can work finally by doing hands. I signed in as a freelance, so I can actually have my professional insurance, because the personal liability insurance doesn't exist in Spain. I'm sorry, it doesn't exist. So I needed to do that. That's okay. That's okay. But I solved many things with Alfonso. We started the process of the Spanish Association yesterday. I did with Alfonso. So we went to the lawyer and we started that process. It's going to take, I don't know how much, but that's going on. And just now we just moved the pigs to a different enclosure. So we have a propagation space in which we can start work tomorrow. Physically, we have to clean a lot of pig shit, a lot, you cannot imagine how much. And and then start planting trees. So trees or plants. Well, I can summarize a little bit what my observations about the ecosystem in the area are. Probably Sara and Regina knows a bit better about the Mediterranean limestone ecosystem, extremely dry, but perhaps for you in the USA it's kind of difficult to get an idea of what's going on. Okay, here the climatic state of the forest, let's say, is dominated by 3 species that could be in monospecific forests or kind of mixed. Is Pinus alepensis, is a pine tree. It's the Spanish oak, that is Quercus ilex, and it's a Juniperus oxysterus. That's kind of the climatic species and of the dry zones, of the dry areas, the slopes. And so what the characteristics of those trees is, first, they grow very slow. So I could say here in this area, for a Spanish oak to grow 4 meters high, it could take 40 years. 40 years. And they always grow, the Spanish oaks always grow in groups of 10 trees that protect each other. So you, from the lands, from outside, you can see like 1 tree, but actually this is not 1 tree. It's 10 trees growing together, and after 200 to 300 years, then you have 1. So that's something to take in account. And after that, that's kind of the climatic species, and then the vegetation growing with that forest is mainly rosemary, Salvia lavandulifolia. It's a species of salvia sage that is growing here. A perennial grass, which is extremely interesting for catching ground. I don't know the name still, but this area is quite full of it. And you can see that in the late stages of succession, there's almost no legumes. There are almost no legumes. So from that case, I will go a bit backwards, and after that I can explain a little bit what's my idea of how to work with this succession. So before that state, in certain areas, we have here what we call aulagar. Aulagar is a formation in which the dominant species is Genista scorpius, which is a legume tree, very thorny. And then the companion plants are a lot of small legumes, like legume herbs, they grow just 2 months, and then everything is dry. There is thyme, there is rosemary, there are no trees almost. And the earlier state, so even more degraded land, you don't see too much aulagas, too much genistas, but you see quite a lot of santolinas, you see quite a lot of thyme, because the ground is very exposed. You see a little bit of sage, but not so much, and it's full of small annual legumes and kind of tiny ground cover grasses. I have to say that, well, that's an ecosystem that in Spain is called garriga, and it's kind of an unstable ecosystem of very low shrubby bushes. It's very typically desert thing. And then another interesting state is just the very, very recently disturbed ground that here is dominated by poppies and grain. I don't know how do you say that. I know the name in Spanish. Like, como las espigas, like the grass that is espigas y se pegan los calcetines. Those ones, everywhere, everywhere. Poppies, those ones, and then annual companion flowers that are perhaps not so dominant. And a very interesting case about disturbed lands is the roadsides and the places in between cultivated lands. Over there, you can find a lot of malva, and it's there where you can find Retama sphaerocarpa. The ground is a bit less compacted, it has a bit more water retention, and then Retama can grow. I'm going to explain why I think Retama is very important in our situation. And then you have the gullies. Which plants which trees and plants I have seen in the gullies. I've seen that the Retama is kind of mixed. So you can see it next to the gullies, a little bit is kind of an in-between plant. And there is the forest in the gullies here is dominated by Populus alba. There are many, well, not many, kind of dying. Populus nigra, not planted ones. The planted ones, they are also here because those are cultivars, but I've seen the native ones. There is a lot of Sambucus nigra, which means we can plant walnuts, very, very nice, and there are many walnuts planted in the area, so that's a very interesting tree for just not in the gully, but next to the gully. That's the perfect species here, so, and very productive. And as a willow, because I've seen all these willow videos and nice, here we have Salix atrocinerea. That's the willow I've seen in this area, and that's a very dense growing willow that we can use in borders, and if we prune it, or we can work a little bit with that. And I've also seen that Ulmus nigra grows quite well in this area next to the water, but of course only small specimens. The old specimens are all dead in Spain. But that's a very interesting plant also for edges in wet zones, because those trees grow from underground kind of, so that you have many sticks coming up the ground, and you can prune them very well. They grow very, very, very bushy, and they can grow very dense if pruned as a hedge. So, well, that's more or less what I've seen. I've seen also roses, Rosa canina. Those are growing in more wet areas or in between cultivated lands. So also not where the ground is very disturbed. And then for dry areas, for example, I've seen Rhamnus lithioides and Rhamnus oleoides. In Spanish, we call them Rhamnus oleoides is espino negro, and Rhamnus lithioides I really don't know. But they are kind of companion trees of small. If I speak about trees, for you perhaps in the United States, these are not trees, these are just shrubs. They are very, very small things, very small things. And then I've seen that in the most degraded, eroded bare ground in this area, we have a very interesting plant to work with that is Ononis fruticosa. That's a kind of, I would say when it's big, is a little bit less than a meter high, very bushy, dense legume shrub that likes extremely eroded areas. And now they are full of seeds, but I hope in 3 weeks we can really collect a lot of them. So what I've been collected was from now, because now the seeds are not ready yet, mostly Retama sphaerocarpa, seeds from last year, that were still hanging in the shrubs. We have a whole bunch of them. We're going to plant a lot of them because I think they are extremely interesting for everything. And I think this is a very interesting plant to take in account in this ecosystem as a succession speeder, kind of, because you have this low shrub, very stable situation, and for the trees to come to that situation, to invade that low shrub thing, takes really a long time because it's a very stabilized, really diverse ecosystem. So, but it doesn't catch too much carbon. So actually, the thing we can do in those situations is to disturb a little bit the ground and then put retama over there that is going to create an extra level of highness in the ecosystem, so it will provide shadow that will allow other species to start to grow, and then perhaps we can put Spanish oaks under the retama. I've also seen that when the pine trees are growing in the top and just in the top of the hills, you can see that the vegetation in the slopes is really developing very well. So the pine trees, I think, they act kind of as a trap also for moisture now, because they are a bit higher and they trap a little bit of moisture. They create some soil over there, and then down the pines, you see the most stable plants going on. Well, that's what I've seen, and then of course a lot of reeds in the water area, and we have many native annual plants or native kind of perennial plants, water plants. There are very much useful stuff around to work with. But we have been discussed about the cover crops to know what to use as cover crops. Here I've seen that there are 3 plants that could be very useful for us. One is alfalfa. Alfalfa grows well even if there's no irrigation, but after the earthworks, actually the ground is going to be perfect for them. There is another plant that Alfonso is planting just here in the garden. Next, there's a mix of alfalfa and esparceta, it's called. I don't remember the Latin name, but it's another legume, a bit higher, pinky flowers, super beautiful. And then malva is growing extremely well in urban areas or around the roads. So I guess in the campsite after the earthworkings is gonna fix the ground fantastic. And it's quite tall, so it also protects the soil a lot. And the animals here just love it. So it's extremely useful for us. We are feeding the pigs with that because the farm is full of that. So every day we cut a lot of malva and some alfalfa, and then I find it extremely useful here. And I've seen Sarah's recommendation about Tilia platyphilus. I haven't seen that tree here, but I think it's a very interesting species to work with in humid areas. But also seeing these videos about living fences with the trees working together. I want to point out that this is only going to work in the places where there is a lot of water, or in the places where we are able to plant this Retama sphaerocarpa, because I think with the Retama sphaerocarpa we have a chance of doing those things and pruning them quite in a quite a specific way. About the boars, no fucking way. I'm sorry. So my experience, all the things I asked from all the people around, I had conversations about stopping boars with everybody. No way. To stop a boar, you need a concrete wall. Point. You're not going to stop boars with plants because they're going to go through it, or they're going to find a hole, or they're going to dig it themselves. So no way. Sarah? I don't.
Estás mute.
What boar? What if boar? Jabalí?
Jabalí.
Jabalí.
Okay.
Que los
Sorry.
jabalíes no los pagamos.
But I think the idea that the process of putting the trunks of the tree very close one to the other, this could help if in the next row we have thorny plants.
No, with the boars.
I think if we could put it close enough.
Yeah, absolutely close enough. It doesn't work. No. If they want to come, they will come. And actually, that is going to take a long time to grow. So the first 10 years, we are not going to stop anymore. The only way to stop boars, and that's efficient. Well, this is a fly in the, sorry. But is efficient is just being there. Because the board tells you and they don't come.
That's not true, eh? I live surrounded by wild boars. They come.
But Regina, this is not Madrid. I know what's Madrid and in Valdemorillo, they are everywhere, but here they are really scared of people. And an interesting technique that I find a bit disgusting, but they are using here for protecting the almond trees from the goats, the wild goats, the Spanish goats, is putting dog shit in the trunk of the trees. And perhaps it will work with the boars. I don't know, but that's kind of a crazy idea that is quite easy to do. Sarah.
It's a nice idea, eh?
Yeah, it's a nice idea.
Sorry. I've heard the same thing, but with wolf pee.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that they sell it in order to put it surrounding your crops or something. So
yeah, we can use that. We can use that. Well, and about boars, I think that could be a crazy thing, but the people living in the area will be kind of stopped for them. And if there are something especially delicate, we should put an electric fence or something like that. And for sure, all the poultry, all the chickens, all the things we have at night should be in because they are predators.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. And here we have an eagle owl, so boreal, a huge thing that it was stealing the chickens from at night because they didn't close the door. And well, I think in 1 week he took 6 chicken and 1 rabbit.
Cool.
1 hour.
Yeah. Okay. We are close to a special protection area for birds. So we have also Cernícalo and a lot of things.
Yeah. Here we have the biggest colony of lesser kestrel in Murcia, in La Junquera. And another thing I wanted to point out about the living edges and about the plagues we can face in our project. I think the bigger plague we can face is actually rodents, because this area is very unbalanced. It's extremely producing grain, and there are no separations between the lands, and the lands are too big. Oh my God, so many flies. The lands are too big, so actually there is a lack of partridges. You can see that there are many rodents because it's extremely full of foxes, and people in the area have problems with the rodents when the grain crop is off. So probably in winter, if we are planting something, or in the fall or in early spring, then we can really suffer from rodents. So the thing we really need to think about is a very easy thing to do, is to make predators' life easy. We have a superabundance of rocks in the camp that we have to get rid of or use them for mulch. So actually, it would be nice to make rock piles of around 1 square meter, not bigger, separated, let's say 5-10 meters in the edges or in the edge areas to create a habitat for lizards. One thing that is going to control insects. I've seen that already 2 species of lizards for Samodromus, 2 species of Samodromus, and I've seen already 3 species of snakes, but 2 of them are rodent hunters. So if we create those rock piles, that's going to attract and I think the most important one we have to take care of are little owls, mochuelos. There are many little owls in this area, and they could be more if they had more places to nest, because they nest normally in natural circumstances in holes or in holes in houses. We have a nest right here in the farm. It's looking at us every morning, the owl from the hovel. So the thing we can do with those owls that they eat extremely lot of rodents, is just
Ricardo.
Yeah.
Ricardo, can you repeat how do they make the nest? Because I couldn't hear it.
No, the little owls, they make nests in holes.
Holes in walls, but in walls or where?
Or in trees. Or in trees.
Okay.
But I've seen them nesting in nesting boxes. And those nesting boxes are also available for kestrels, cernicalos. So the same side nesting box is available for kestrels and for little owls. That those are rodent killers, and they are going to perch on, let's say, 2 meters high poles, put it in strategic places. So they like to just perch over there, look at the ground, and then hunt. So in the places where we think we can face a rodent attack, we should put just some poles for them and perhaps make some nests. I think that's the bigger plague we're going to face, because insect plagues, if we have enough birds and we have enough lizards and we have enough diversity in vegetation, it doesn't matter. If one plant dies, then we're going to have thousands of others. So it's fine. But rodents can be a problem. And it's also nice to have birds around. And well, that's kind of a summary. If you have any question or any request, because of course I've seen many more things. But if you have any specific question about anything, you can ask me now.
Yes, we were talking about using doves, attracting doves to the camp.
Yeah.
Yes, to increase fertility. But this is against the thing with the owls. I think they will eat the doves.
No.
Not really.
No, not really. Not really, because the owls, the little owls, los mochuelos son más pequeños que las palomas. The little
¿Y el
owl,
cernícalo?
again, no.
Búho real?
No problem.
But my concern with the dogs is what I already talked before, is about them eating our crops.
I think doves, they really like to eat is grain.
I know, but if we offer them plenty of fruits and it's closer than the grain, maybe they will try to picotear a little, maybe.
Well, perhaps what we can do is to set up a dove house a little bit higher or outside the area of. Yeah.
Yes,
so
or close to the land from Alfonso that is seed of barley. So they can eat the barley.
Well, they are gonna eat the leftovers, and they are gonna forage in a lot of kilometers around. There are many doves here living in the farm already. And actually, it's quite interesting that if you see the old constructions in the area, this farm is around 400 years old. So there are many really old buildings here, ruins. And you see in the buildings, they did holes in the walls on purpose for attracting doves and then eating the doves, I guess. But buenas, Alfonso just arrived. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. Those, we should really take them in count. And
Yeah.
I think that's great. So what do you think about it?
Perfect explanation.
I think it's very nice to have you there.
Yeah.
We need this. And
Paul, did you have a comment or a question? Okay, just checking. Sometimes we're making adjustments, and I don't know if that's a raised hand or something.
A question of that, sorry, Ray, I didn't hear you very well.
I was just making sure that anybody who had a specific question at this point for you.
Yeah, no question.
An opening.
yes,
Yeah,
I have.
Rahina.
Yes, we were with reviewing the task list. So I want to know what part of your task list are you busy with? I know that with the hedge and with the seeds, you said.
I have done everything, Regina.
Everything.
No, not
My
everything.
God.
Not everything. I still need to connect quite a lot with I didn't connect, for example, with the Red de Permacultura del Sureste yet.
Yeah.
Because we have been extremely busy and I didn't have too much time in the computer, and well, car and insurance things have been kind of overwhelming. But about the plant things, I have written everything and I have everything in my head. I just have to give it shape. And I wrote you like a document, Word document. I know that's not the proper methodology. I also didn't know what was the proper methodology.
Yes, I didn't explain, sorry.
Yeah, but I think before putting all the data and all the things in the paper, I don't know the words in my mind. I like to write those things so you can understand why I'm choosing something and why not, and according to the things I see around. And then we can.
Okay, I told Paul that the document that you sent, that is very nice, and maybe you can upload it to the plants file that Paul can review it, because we were talking, I don't know if the last meeting on two meetings ago, about for every guild, give a small explanation, and this is exactly what you have done, and I like it very much. So just to create a narrative for every guild. So of course you have to do the work of the database, because this needs to be available for the next designers that are coming, because this is moving very fast and people is coming every time. So we need to have centralized data that everyone can learn of and
absolutely
and join very fast. So try to do the standard work, and also this is, I think, is a very good example as a narrative. So if you can upload it, then Paul can review it.
Absolutely, yeah. I will
and we could try to create a standard of narratives. And I like that one.
Yeah, that was
okay.
And well, about the guild structures, I've seen that you were kind of planning the guilds having 1 or 2 trees, I don't know how many shrubs, and one annual, one perennial, or those things like herbs. I think we have to adapt the structural species to each specific location, because that structure of a guild can work very well in the area with wetland, no? But it doesn't make any sense in an extremely dry place or a rocky place where you have to focus on shrubs, and don't try to plant any annual. Just the annuals are going to come alone, and those annuals are going to be the best ones in that case. So just I will always propose you the things, but in a very open way. But where I don't think is all these plants make sense. All the plants make sense. I'm not going to put them. And for these structural guilds, not so much a production guild, because a food forest guild, then you want to eat, no? Then you want to eat, so you want the plants you want to eat actually, and there are many herb trees. Again, but for the structural guilds, the thing you really want to create is a structure in the landscape, which is going to provide the native plants micro niches to fill the gaps. So if you have a shrub hedge, then you're going to focus in help each other to fill the gaps and can also be useful. But then don't try to fill the gaps with an annual plant you are pushing into the system. If you want to plant garlic in a place, for example, you can do it. So you can actually use those gaps as open spaces for you to experiment on site in each guild. But I think it shouldn't be so stable, kind of, so fixed. Those are you. But yes, the structural part, so the shrubby things and the woody things. Yes, Ray.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try to get us. I could listen all afternoon. I appreciate Ricardo's presence and his eye for observation. It's something, you know, that there's no substitute for. And I want to say thank you very much. And at the same time, you know, we're in an hour here, and we have, you know, some time limits for these meetings. Doesn't mean we can't converse in between the meetings, but for the meeting, I think we would like to get to. Hello, Daniel.
Hi. Sorry, I'm late.
No apology necessary. We were talking about the planning tool.
What's a planning tool?
That is, rather than a single purpose budget, that it's difficult to iterate. I'm not calling on you, Dan, about this. I'm just saying this is our next agenda item. But hello, welcome, Dan. You're doing fine.
That's from Paul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was I don't know if we need to discuss it. So Kevin was talking about starting a new budget process, and had mentioned that they were wanting to build a 5-year budget. I was saying in the past, our budgets have looked to me like cost research. You know, lots of different items, but there's no description of the products. You know, so that there's clarity about, you know, in year 1 we want this product and this product and this product, you know, and year 2 we want this product, and then so the budgets are built around a structure of deliverables. And so when I saw that there was a new budget process starting, I remembered the old budget processes and was hoping that we could organize our budget so that it's we can, you know, if we have more money, we can increase scale. If we have less money, we decrease scale. And that if we're going to do the work of creating a budget, we make it so that it can be easily changed, increased or decreased, based on number of people or area, you know, something like that. But I made some suggestions to Kevin, and I shared them with Regina, but I don't know how to proceed to encourage a budget that's more flexible.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so bored. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't need to talk about it.
We have made
I do think it is good to no, it's fine. It's fine. I am glad that this is here, and the link is shared in the agenda. And how does it sound for us to, you know, look it over and see if we can get some ideas because Sarah has been working, you know, looking on like a 5-year plan kind of thing from the point of view of course, plant materials as well as other things, you know, and so it kind of focuses on both the expense of getting started with plant materials, if I understand Sarah correctly.
Yeah.
As well as income and resources that the plants will become as they get established. And so she's been looking into that. Sarah?
Like, my idea is that we should think of the return of the investment. So if we need, for example, 1,000 euros to plant certain trees, we have to think of ways to return that investment, or at least I think, to pay for the maintenance of that investment in order for it to produce in a few years, so 3, 4 or so. And since we are doing different guilds, each guild is different and each produces different crops with different prices, and it takes a while to try to do it, but that's what I've been working in. Because we should not, it's my opinion, but we should not depend 100% on the money that the ERC is going to give us. We should try to create our money, you know? I don't know if I'm explaining myself. We should try to make money out of our investment. That's right.
Perfect. I would call it an enterprise plan, you know, where there's a cost in and there's a cash out, and it makes perfect sense. The challenge is the restoration part often doesn't produce money, and it is the product we can sell to our funders, this much per acre to recover a forest. So maybe that's the other part of it, is there's the product for, you know, staying alive and feeding, but then there's the product we can sell to outside funders for restoration.
I think that we could have 3 sources of income: the crops and the yields from the plantations, the courses that we can make of permaculture and the corporation, the people that join the corporation. And within those 3, we have to try to make an equilibrium, because the central the money that comes from the corporate now we have only one restoration work going on, but maybe in the future there will be 5, 10 or so, and the main the main corporation will have to help all of them. So in my opinion, each one of the restoration camps should come to a point when it can hold himself by his own income.
I think that's wise.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to let Ricardo, I recognize that you want to speak, and then Regina. And I just want to give Paul a chance to kind of, if there was a response he wanted to make to Sarah's comments before we go on.
No, I think it's great thinking. My main concern is when I saw Kevin starting a new budget process, I was scared that we would end up doing a bunch of work and having it not be useful. And so that is my only concern.
I think they just like to make budgets.
and thank you, Paul. Thank you. I really appreciate your intervention. That was very, very appreciated. Sarah, was there anything else before we go on to Ricardo and then to Regina? Okay, Ricardo.
There is a business model that we are thinking about now, and also with the girlfriend of Alfonso that is focusing on that. And well, they studied the area and what's the problem here quite a lot for many years, and there are many people really involved in that.
Good.
Here the problem is that people don't have money to do anything, not because to buy the plants is expensive, to do any restoration work, because everybody wants to restore their land almost. But they cannot do things, because to restore the land, you need a lot of labor, and the labor is very expensive. But the plants know. So there is a business model that we are thinking about, and is that we set up a propagation unit. So we work really hard to propagate plants with which we can restore ecosystems with them. And then we speak with local farmers, and we offer them to buy our plants, and we go there and we plant them for free. So we put the labor for free, and the farmers are going to be very happy to buy those plants. For sure. I mean, this research is already done. Yannick is writing a thesis right now about that. So that's a business model, another business model for the camp to work. Not only selling the products of food, but selling the plants for doing actual restoration work and offering the labor. That's it.
Gracias. Thank you. Regina, did you?
Yes, I think we already showed the budget model from Paul. I put it in the General Assembly circle. I uploaded the video, the explanation, but nobody has done anything about it. I think this is something to be led by administration, and from there they should ask every circle, what do they need from us? Because we have been doing a lot of budgets, very different ones, and I think we should focus on our task. And for example, we need to focus on what are we going to provide for fall, for the next fall, and to create different scenarios, the 3 different scenarios I told you, because there is no money. This is the fact, there is no money. So if we want to provide a 5-year budget, I think we should not lead it, because we can think one thing, but the rest of the cooperatives think in some other way. Because I was talking similar to Sarah in a mail that they sent, and I said, we have to think about revenues. And then they started telling me that I was talking about profit, and this ERC was not made of profit. So I don't know what to say anymore. I'm very bored of this. It's not a question of profit, or it's a question that we need money. We need money to restore the area. And it's okay to create a business and to create a business model. I think we have to do it. But of course, I also said in this mail, we have to create 2 different plans, one for ERC and one for the Spanish camp, because I don't think that this is the same. They are 2 different things, totally different. One is ERC that has to fund a lot of camps, I hope. And then another one is the Spanish camp that has to fund itself after several years, maybe 2-3 years. It has to be able to fund itself. So we need to work in these things, in these both things, but we should focus on the ERC budget, but lead it from administration circle or finance or whatever, I don't know. Because we are wasting a lot of time and the people is getting tired because there is no good direction. I think we need someone with knowledge to direct this, and I don't know who wants to do it. But it's I find it very difficult because we don't know, so we are planning blindly. So it's very difficult for me. It's very difficult, and I'm going to work in whatever they tell me. It's no problem, but I think we need to know in what we should focus. And for us, for this group, I think we should focus on the fall. It's a pity that because we should focus on 5 years, I think, or 10 years, but we should focus now in the fall because we have to answer by fall certain questions. What are we going to plant? Are we going to plant? Do we have money for the earthworks? Is the earthworks that we plant enough, or we have to do all the earthworks at once? This is what we have to focus, because maybe this year we cannot plant either.
Okay, Sarah, and then Ricardo, and I would like to bear with me, Regina. I would like to talk to you a little bit more about some of the detail that I don't think we need to go over in this meeting. And because I think I need to communicate with the supervisory board and the board of directors a bit, because I think that kind of leadership and direction, you know, kind of, it needs to maybe come from the people who are responsible trying to keep us afloat. And maybe that'll help. Yeah, so I'm not talking about trying to be top down and, you know, all this, but I'm talking about just some kind of leadership and some ideas from these people who have experience in nonprofit organizations. So Sarah, and then Ricardo, and then I said we're heading into the we're at the 75-minute mark. So
okay, really fast. As I see it, one thing is the ERC, and under the ERC, we are there. But it's not a thing of profit or not profit. If we want to create to restore an ecosystem and make it worth it to do it, so other people around Spain want to do the same thing, which is, I think, is the idea, we have to prove that it's worth it. That if people invest money in restore their own ecosystems in Murcia, Madrid, or Bilbao, that will give them back a percentage of money, a return of the investment, so they will want to do it, not through us, but by themselves, which I believe is the idea, to show that it's possible to restore the ecosystems, make them profitable, and restore them in a way that is ecological, that will not harm, but will help the earth. And that's all really, at the end, it's about a good design and money. It's so we have to prove, like, do a mainframe design that it is portable to different places with the study of the cost and the return of the investment and everything. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. It's not a thing of earning money. It's a thing of showing to the rest of the people that this is worth doing it, not by a GMO, but for everybody.
I think we all agree.
Yeah, we agree. And also I wanted to point out that
Ricardo, we're losing you.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yeah.
If we have a serious business model, we will have access to international funding that is going to actually give money to the Spanish Association, most likely than to the ERC National. For example, land, or for example, people from Patagonia brand that are going to visit us next week here. So those people, those people have money to invest in these things, and they want to see things working and functional and with a business, kind of a business model proposal and like a structure that is able to work. So I think we have to focus on functionality a lot, and I think people in the just a small thing I wanted to point out also that I had for my friends here. Functionality means that you are all now kind of working for us, that we are ground, right? But we see from here a lack of communication. So myself, I'm not very attached to the computer, no. But for example, Robin and Arthur are great writers, and they have extremely a lot of ideas, but they really don't know how to be taken in account, kind of. Do you hear me?
No.
No, sorry. Shit.
Now, heard most of it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now I say that the ecosystem, the site, the camp circle has to be something central, because from here sometimes there are many conversations going around about us, and we don't feel we know or we are properly communicated with the rest, and we are the people who should know what's going on. And actually for us, if we want to know what's going on, we have to read the whole bunch of messages in Discord. It doesn't make any sense. We are here to work. So we have to find a way to communicate with the world in the most efficient way. That's the only thing I wanted to point out. And a way to be able to communicate also personally with the cloud in an efficient way. That's it. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I think it's a challenge. I think for you standing there on a piece of land, needing to feed yourself and grow plants, it's very clear. I think out here in the cloud, it's very unclear what it is that we need to do to be useful. I think maybe the main thing is just to get some cash moving. It seems like that's maybe the most important thing, is gather up money and send it to the ground, right? So if that is the most important thing, then that is what we should be redirecting all of our energy towards doing. But I'm wondering, is there anything else? Is there something else that the ERC should be? What should the ERC be in order to support you?
Well, I think the focus on the money is interesting, because we need the money here, and also the ERC shouldn't feel as a block for moving on. So we are here to act and to make things done, no? And we shouldn't feel unsure about ourselves about taking specific decisions. And it didn't happen yet too much. Well, we were a bit mad about all the insurance things and all these kind of blocks. But I see that the way we are working in, that can happen very easily in the moment. We have to take a decision. What are we going to do tomorrow? And it's going to be a critical decision, and that decision needs to have consensus or something like that. No, I feel a little bit suspicious about those possible challenges we can face in the future. And I think now I'm going to let Robin speak a little bit, so he can offer you his insight that is probably more interesting than mine in this structural. Yeah, I mean, at least in these structural things. Robin.
Insight in terms of, can you give me more specifics about?
Yeah, no, I'm asking about. I want you to explain them. What's your feeling about the communication with the cooperative?
Oh, well.
And what can they do about it?
So I'll just speak personally from my perspective. I've been connected with the Facebook group for some time, and I've been communicating and asking, what is the governance model? How do you make the decision? Before I came here, and it for me, my experience was it was very impenetrable to actually enter the larger conversation in terms of the organization.
We can't hear you.
I came here.
Oh, can you all hear us?
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Let me speak closer. How about that?
Yeah, that's good. Come on in.
Okay, so I know that we're low on time, so I'll just speak really briefly. My experience has been that it's been very difficult to primarily listen to the larger conversation of what's going on in the organization, and secondarily be able to express my ideas. I've written a lot already about the conversations and ideas that are going on here, just trying to summarize what is happening, the ideas that are forming, the plans we're creating. I don't even know where to put the ideas. I don't even know where to submit the ideas in terms of just my process of rendering what's already happening here and offering it. So there, as far as I know, there's no channels from the camp to the larger cloud if you're not in a specific circle. And to me, it seems like a barrier of support.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't exactly have a solution. I just want to let you know that's.
Yeah, I think it's challenging for everyone involved. I think.
Yeah.
I think that and I think that we have a set of tools You know, like there's the website, there's forums, there's email, there's chat, there's, you know, we have this toolkit. We have no idea how to use it well. You know, and I think I don't know the answer either. So I think it's the more vision, the more ideas, the more voice that you can bring, the better, because we need fresh ideas, I think.
Great. So we're compiling a lot of fresh ideas. Do you have any suggestions about who I should offer them to?
I think you have to offer it to Paul.
Oh, I'll offer them to you.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Actually,
Please.
You've probably seen John's post here this week about crossing the river by feeling the stones. Have you seen that?
Nope.
It's a Chinese saying. We're crossing the river by feeling the stones. In other words, we can't see where our feet are, and we're crossing the river.
Right.
So what we have to do is feel for the stones as we go. We don't know where all the stones, all the stepping stones are. We don't know where where the path is. We're making our way across, and the water's moving, and we can't literally see our feet, but we can feel the stones.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that metaphor. I'm a fan of metaphors. And this is not to be dismissive, by the way. And this is not to say,
I think that's really great.
Thank you, Dan. That's what we're doing. And so we need to say these things like, I am running up against a wall. I can't be heard and I can't hear. We need to acknowledge that. And at the same time, I feel that, you know, we have these tools, as Paul mentioned. Maybe it would be worth a try to find a tool that works. And like I said, we don't all, you know, sit up here in the cloud with, you know, multiple laptops and tablets, you know, available to us. But to find something you can get your hands on and start putting stuff out there, and also contact another human being, and by the way, contact me if, you know, I try to be around. I'm not always, but, you know, I do try to be responsive, you know, and just grab somebody by the collar and say, I'm not being heard. Could you help me get this out there? Who can I talk to? Do you know anyone? Because we've got to make all these connections somehow, and without being able to see our feet in the river.
For many times I have felt like because I wasn't being heard, that like it was something personal. Like, you know, I have felt excluded at different points in time, you know. But I think that is not. It is. I think there's just it's a challenge of how we're structured, that we haven't figured out how to do that work of bringing ideas together effectively, you know. So I think it's a huge challenge. You know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. We, like, for example, we have wanted to, you know, make the forums more central to our conversation, you know, and yet at the same time, most people are more comfortable, you know, in Discord or with email. Like, even in the last several weeks, a lot of people have shifted back to email, which is even worse, you know, than Discord for actually sharing information. So.
For me, the best way of sharing information is doing a Zoom meeting. For me, the best is talk person to person. Just talk, and it's the best way, so you can say anything you need to say, and all of the rest will listen and respond. And so maybe if we need to make more Zooms with the people from the camp, or I have no idea, but I think talking to a person eye to eye is the best thing.
Yeah, you're so right.
Regina?
Yes, Robin, I think also that the fact that we are trying to be, because we are not really, but we are trying to be a grassroots organization, has its goodness at the problems, and this is one of the problems. It's very difficult for me also. If I don't read Facebook anymore, I don't read the forums, I don't read half of the mails, I don't read Discord, but my circle, because I don't have time to do all these things. It's impossible to follow. I agree with you, but so the solution is in you. So you communicate here. So, for example, I'm going to tell this in the next General Assembly, that the people in the camp is having this problem, and that we have to do something and find a way to solve it, because everyone is having the same problems. Paul is working a lot of these things, I know, because he's putting hundreds of messages. Half of them I'm not able to read. Sorry, Paul. But
I don't think
know that there is a big effort. There is a big effort on solving that, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult because we are a lot of people.
Robin.
I'm just, it's a thought and a question, which is, the thought is that perhaps once a week or once a month, whatever seems like manageable, we could have a short meeting where the camp could summarize what we are doing and thinking about and what we're needing. And then there could be a bit of feedback between the groups. That would be really helpful for us, because there's a lot of, a lack of communication has held back work in terms of construction, in terms of, even really in terms of everything. The lack of communication has kind of stifled progress that could be made. And I think that being able to just get a very clear response, or at least express our confusion outward, would be really beneficial to us being able to move forward.
Yes.
May I ask a clarifying question of Robin?
Yes.
That may not have an answer now, but what I'm wondering, what I'm thinking is I'm thinking who needs to be sure to be listening to you. I'm thinking, is it the board of directors? Is it the ecosystem design? Is it the camp organization? In other words, what Paul calls the cloud people? Are there groups or individuals who have certain responsibility based on their responsibilities or their skills, or just the fact that they seem to hear you very well? You know, maybe you can, without an answer right now, you might consider who would be the ones that the people on the ground, the campers, would want to really be able to have their ear during these times. Then that may not have an answer now, but it's something to think about.
I have a small idea about how to solve that. I don't know if it can work. I just bought a GoPro 2 days ago, so I'm very happy about being able to film things. And the problem with the meetings is that the people needs to be in the meeting, and sometimes it takes a long time, or it's quite difficult, no? So perhaps the thing we can do is to record kind of the people in the camp once per week, a summary of what's going on. So we speak, and then we put it in the Discord or in the whatever, and then wherever somebody tells us to put in, and then you can see it. Everybody can see it, what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that.
I think,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think the way this whole thing needs to be organized, there's an approach to management in Japanese factories where it's the people who are actually building the car that need to tell everyone what needs to happen. You know, the people that are actually doing the work are the only ones that understand the needs. Mm-hmm. And so it's called, I think that the camp needs to pull the rest of the organization along. Yes. Because I think nothing that we invent in our heads in the cloud is going to solve your problem, unless we know the problems you need us to solve.
Yes.
And so I think I would encourage you to feel powerful in clarifying what it is that you need an international organization to do for you, and to make that very clear, and as make it specific, make it detailed, because otherwise someone like me is going to end up, and I don't think I could ever give you, or anyone like me, any of the other 10 people probably that are working on these issues can make decisions about what you need. So maybe I love the GoPro idea, and I would encourage you to be even more directive, be even more clear about, not just what you're doing, but what you need us to be doing in order to make you more effective.
Yeah.
Rahina points out it would be clear from Dan if he's available.
Hi. As far as my availability right now?
No, in this moment, if you were, I wanted to be sure you were near a microphone. Hi, Dan.
Hi. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I'm listening in. I'm
giving you
actually not quite out the door yet, but I'm working as I'm listening to leave. But I'm going to, I'm going to South Africa today for 3 weeks. So that's on my mind. I'm available. Did you have a direct question, or do you just want my input from what's gone so far?
I would like you to share what's on your mind from what you've heard so far.
Right. Well, there's a couple things. I'm very surprised about how our list of stakeholders in this project seems to grow exponentially, and the people that are involved on the ground or initially seem to have a constant flow and influx of new people that they're responsible to, and then many different forms of communication that are supposed to be respected, and many forms of budget building, and many forms of this and that every time there's a new idea. That's basically I just decided that, okay, this is not my design. I'm working on this. I can work with people, but if they want to spend all their time trying to develop a new way of administration before we even know what we're doing, I just kind of backed out of that. As far as, and so that's with Kevin and that whole group and what's going on with that. Like you were saying about crossing the river and feeling the stones with your feet. It seems to me that there are a number of people who are the loudest that want to know how many stones there are in the river first, what kind of stones they are, and how much money we need for wet socks or something like that. And this is very much an organic process. It was a very small process. It was a very simple installation and idea that has just grown beyond my capacity to tolerate. And I work for people that figure that out or have experience with that. And it seems like in this case, we don't have the people like Paul was saying about, sure, the people that build the cars are giving a lot of information, but they've built cars for years. They were trained to build cars. They didn't show up yesterday, all of a sudden get on the line and then start telling people what they need to build the car. So there's a lot of experience in there, I think, that is used. And a lot of the other things, that's being replaced with personal preference by a lot of the people that are in budget or whatever. And I mean, all due respect, I'm just how I'm feeling about it. And the other side of this is I would really like to know what the expectations were of the people that who are at the camp and went to the camp, and what they were told and what their expectations were when they got there as to what was going to happen. Because as far as I knew, we didn't really even have a plan. And then all of a sudden everybody was being invited to show up. So Now we're being driven by another stakeholder, which are the people on ground, on site, and their sensibilities and what they want to get done. I have no clue what they're coming from. I don't know anybody who is there other than Adam, who was doing the carpentry. And so I now just have to wait until it goes through all the levels of administration before it comes up to design to actually find out what people want to do. So I just hear a cacophony of voices without a lot of direction and a lot of assumptions that are based on personal preference. So that's what I think.
Thank you, Daniel. Well, we are actually writing about a little bit about our motivations. I think Robin has his already. I've been writing, but actually to write about really personal things, it takes a long time and long effort to really focus and go to the ground. But that's going to be published soon. For sure. And well, I think we're going to get to know each other. I myself am going to, my plan is to be here in long term. And by long term, I mean at least 1 year. So we're probably going to meet and we're going to probably be able to talk in person. And that is, I think, is the most important thing, to be able to connect. And I also want to meet you, everybody. Sorry for the flies. And be able to learn about each other, because I think that's our big motivation here. Is just that we felt kind of a passion in the air, and we all come here from a point of personal frustration and willing to do something meaningful with our lives, and we felt this as a huge opportunity to be able to express, to learn, and to be really open. So the pioneers, we are the pioneers, no? And as pioneers, you have to accept that you are going to a place you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's going to happen, but you just feel that something positive in your life can happen if you go there. So it's just about the intuition. We are here because of our intuition. And I think with no expectations, like specific expectations about what's going to happen. But we are very sure that this is going to be good and an important step for our lives. And it's already happening. It's already happening. We have been here together I've been here almost 3 weeks, and with these guys almost 2 weeks. And the thing that is building up in friendship, in relation, in routines, about just the conversations we have, and the depth of everything we do every day. You know, the be present and. Just we don't speak about stupid things. We are all the time speaking about extremely interesting things, or having philosophical conversations, or doing a spiritual exercise together, or having walks and going around and see what happened, doing kind of theoretical exercises around. So we see a gully that is eroded. What could we do here? So we speak about and we discuss about on place. So that's going on, and that's extremely positive for us.
And we're also renovating the house next door, and so we can live there, so we can move out of Alfonso's house. Also very important. And then we're gonna start the vegetable garden in the orchard over here, and Adam can start on his workshop. So that's just on a practical note.
Yeah, there is a motivation of goals to reach, no? But that's making a team here, and we are working really well as a team. And each one has its kind of role that comes very naturally, and I think we are very complementary people. And this happened spontaneously because nobody knew us, nobody chose us. we just came here with the same mind setting, but from different life circumstances. So we are working together in something, and that's actually really important for our lives. Even if it just goes to shit and nothing happened, at least this whole group ERC or NU team, you are helping us to restore ourselves. And that's the first step for regeneration in landscape, in society, or everywhere, anywhere.
May I see? I'm going to ask if everybody can just hang on for 15 seconds. Just listen. Or not, or don't even think anything. Hang on. Thank you. Thank you. I think we're doing very important work. We've also been an hour and 45 minutes together, and we have things to do. So, you know, we're trying to balance this. Yes, Sarah needs to go.
I have to go.
Yep.
So I can't. So
No, we're done. We're good.
bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. The one last item on the agenda that we may have already covered early on, there was a question about the insurance requirement. Regina, did we?
This, I think this is from 1 month or so from Paul, but probably it's already solved. This is about the insurance.
I think it is. Ricardo mentioned it. Yes.
Can I speak?
See, yeah, please.
We had a lot of things about the insurance. I'm going to tell you what's the circumstance right now. Alfonso is an organic farmer. So right now, these two guys are in woofing.
Okay.
So they are directly connected to Alfonso.
Yes.
And Adam has his own insurance because he has a home insurance. And the personal liability insurance in Spain, private, doesn't exist. It's not typified. Personal liability in Spain comes through a home insurance, a car insurance, or a professional activity insurance. You cannot just go to an insurance company and say, I want to buy a personal liability insurance. No. Even if Marike says yes, no. It doesn't happen. I've gone to the insurance people, I received emails, and no, there's no fucking way. And definitely there's no way to get the insurance of the amount of money they were asking for. No way. No way. Not even half of it. And it's quite expensive. So, well, how did I solve my situation? I am a freelance now, and I'm going to work for Alfonso. So I'm not directly connected to the ERC. So I have my personal insurance because I pay taxes, and I have a professional activity. That's it. And then once the association, the Spanish association, is created, then any volunteer that works for that association needs to be covered by law for the association. So is the association the one who takes the insurance from the insurance company? That is typified. That is typified. It's called the volunteer law in Spain, and I am not a lawyer, but it's like that. So if you work for an association, you are insured because the association is insured. So simple. That's it. But the thing we cannot ask for the people who come here is to search for things that don't exist. And perhaps they exist in the Netherlands, but even in the UK, they were having problems.
It's not typical in the United States either to ask for
Yeah.
volunteers to insure themselves.
So, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. So for us, it has been a challenge and a block, and well, we went through many demons at once. But, but yeah.
Can I add something to that? Just a thought.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Yeah, real short. My thought for that insurance was mostly for people coming from the U.S., and it was travel insurance, repatriation insurance, things like that. So that if there was an injury or if there was a reason to evacuate the camp, that expense would not be incurred by the ERC. So I buy it when I travel. I get travel insurance. It's not very much money, but it's a policy, meaning that if something happens to me or I have to leave, that company takes care of it for me.
Yeah, and
Absolutely, Daniel, but that's travel insurance, not personal liability.
Daniel, that's correct. And that's exactly what Arthur and I did, as well as the woofing. The woofing is just so that we have a contract. And then we both also have travel insurance, which includes the liability. So we are covered through that same process.
But in the case of myself, that I am Spanish, I don't need any travel insurance. And then it's kind of crazy, because then for the Spanish people is the most complicated case.
That's something.
Right. So that's all I thought the insurance was for, not for in-country liability.
Yeah, well, that happened, but it's solved now. Don't worry, Daniel.
Yeah, so it's all right. But thank you for recapping that for the record. You know, I'm glad that we, like I said, we're recording this, and so I'm glad that we have that. So if anybody wants to check. All right. Dear friends, I think we're about set, and so we can do this as a form of checkout if there's anything that we want to be shared. Regina?
I would like to hear from Senegal, Daniel. Some design ideas you said that could be applied in Spain.
What was the question? Sorry, Regina.
You told me that you brought ideas from Senegal that could be applied in southern Spain.
Yeah, there's some really great, they have sand there. They don't have a lot of rain, but they were using Zaya pits a lot. And those are basically pits that you dig for each tree, much like we would do anyway. But I really like the layouts of how things were. And the design for that, which I haven't publicized yet, has a lot of things going on for it. It's a farm, but it's an agroforestry transition design, basically helping them get their soil back going. So the things there about, the time it takes to develop the carbon in the soil, the living conditions that people had there, and then also especially was the different way of forming the planting areas relative to their rainfall. Now they have very little rain 3 months out of the year, and then it's dry the rest of the time. So I just thought that was very similar. The soil is different, but I did like the way that things were laid out and what I saw going on there. So you can use ZAI pits is a strategy for planting, and it's a name for something that people kind of do anyway, but it's using manure and organic material specifically for each plant, as opposed to trying to build it throughout the planting bed.
Thank you, Daniel.
Paul, any closing thoughts for us?
You guys are the reason that remind me why I am here, and so I thank you for the twice a week, every 2 weeks reminder of why I do this. I think in totally more technical issue. It seems like many of us people that are working, from our homes, are starting to use an online service called Trello to define tasks and share information about those tasks. So you can see who is working on what and what they are working on and who is assigned to what task, and you can create a task maybe and ask for people to do it. So this might be, I think I will just invite you. It's another experiment, I'm sorry. I don't know if it will work or not, but as a way to try and focus more on what we're doing, rather than other things, that distract us from doing, what we need to do. So I think that's my my last hope is to focus on the doing.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, Regina?
Yeah, it's nice for me to have you all here. Also the new guys, I like it very much. and also happy to hear Daniel again. And I hope that from the 15th of June, I will hear more often from you. And Paul, I think that the work you do is amazing because I couldn't bear it. You. I'm honest.
Oh yeah.
I'm very. I thank you really, and Ray, you are always so nice, so warm, and so. I thank you.
Well, thanks.
I like to work with you all.
I'm looking forward to the time when we can get together again in Spain and work on this or other things. I actually have. Sorry, I'm actually cooking here at the same time. You can hear my little pan going. Yep. My last meal. My last meal in my own kitchen. As I'm doing this project now down in South America, South Africa, is wanting to, while I'm there, call some people and do some Skyping with the locals who are down there. And that's something I've thought of repeatedly as I'm traveling, is to take some people with me via Zoom or Skype or whatever it might be. Because it'd be such a great experience for the people there, but then also because we have live feeds and we have cameras, and we could actually be walking across the property as we're talking with people. And that's what I see more eventually. The ERC services is basically interconnecting all these projects that are going on. So it's a constant conversation, which attracts people, which attracts energy, right? So people can see what's actually happening with that. Yeah. So, and in my case specifically, although it's nice to talk like that, it is just another thing. And I'm trying to keep my things to a minimum as I'm trying to get the work done. But I'm hoping to do that while I'm down there now, is maybe just call some people and see if you have the time. And that's GMT +8, I believe, or 6. Or
We'll look it up.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually, no, that's what it is from here. +2.
Okay.
From the Europeans. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to moving forward on this. It's right. It's like Regina was saying, it's the conversations and the emails that I am not reading anymore on certain topics from specific people, because they don't seem to apply. So I'm just saving my energy for other things.
Okay, Ricardo, Arthur, Robin.
Well, just a few things for you to know. This Sunday, I'm going to go to a conference. I don't know how to say conference. I don't know if it's a conference. The word. It's a conference of organic farmers of the whole region. So they are associated in some kind of thing, and we're going to be in there too. We're going to be in there speaking to everybody, and we're going to be in there participating, and we're going to be in there letting everybody know that we are here. So that's the place to go and say hello world in Spain, because nobody knows about us. So that's a big important thing I'm going to do this week, and it's going to be on Sunday. And by the rest, oh, we are on the ground. Tomorrow, big shit. and just we are enjoying very much and being very happy here and being very present. And I just want to thank you both, you everybody, because you are. I really appreciate your work, because you are kind of working without being in the ground. That for me is impossible. I have to be in the place and get my hands on something, but you are working on speculations. And actually this group is the most practical focused group of all of them. I cannot even imagine how the other people can actually do anything. Because we are building up things like castillos de arenas, no sé.
Yeah.
And we are imagining things, so we are creating kind of a whole fantasy world. And that's very positive for us. We have been thinking about it. Okay, what's the function of all these people that are having great ideas around, and actually we are here and we do things, but they have crazy ideas and they don't see what's going on. Well, I think that that's an extremely important thing, because it's inspiration for us in all senses. And it's also motivation and warming to see that there are so many people involved and passionate about what we are doing on the ground. So just thank you guys for doing that. And if you want to meet me in any moment, I will try to put on my computer, but today it was half an hour, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just wanted, this is my first appearance out in the cloud, and I just want to, I just feel really grateful and appreciative and welcome, and I feel like I do have a new sense of personal power and tools to be able to facilitate more communication between the ground and everyone else involved. So I feel newly energized by this. Appreciative.
Yes, I would also like to say something. It's very nice to see that you are very committed to this. And at first, I did not quite understand what all the people in the cloud were about and what they were doing. But now I see you're just also committed to this initiative. And together we can just make it happen. And we'll just communicate our needs to you. Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Thank you for your time.
All right, everybody. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We have quite an adventure ahead of us, and I appreciate the comments that everyone made that also helped me see where I might do the next helpful thing. And so I will hopefully be in touch. And please, like I said, I'm not always in front of a computer, but I don't mind if you shoot me an email. I actually do. If you tag me in Discord, I will respond. And every day I make more of an effort to get onto the new Ecosystems Restoration Camps website and scan the forums and contribute to the forums. So, I'm working through that stuff. And then I have days where, it's an unexpected Leo that I have to deal with, but I try to get back on track. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time. Safe travels, Dan.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
I'll be thinking of you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.